Speedwagon here on the Q96.5 FM, and as we always do at this time on a Wednesday, we talk a little medicine here on the Medical Hour, and it's all brought to you by the Medical Specialty Clinics of the Bryan Hospital and Community Health Professionals. Today we are turning our attention over to the Compassion Care Clinic, and Mike Kelly with me again today. Mike, welcome back in.
Welcome.
Good to have you here.
I think my phone just went off.
You know what? It always works that way when everybody.
I turned it off.
You know?
I turned it down. I'm not sure why it's ringing.
I had yesterday. I had a guest from the 4-County Career Center here, and that phone went off on and on and on and on and on all day long yesterday. That was the busiest guy I've ever met in my life. Also, Neethi Saroa, who is the newest member to the Compassion Care Clinic. Good to have you here, Neethi.
Oh, thank you for being here. It's actually a real privilege. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. We always talk medicine. We always like to talk about the Compassion Care Clinic and what they do. But let's talk about you first of all, because Mike's over there. He's an accountant or he's a stockbroker or somebody like that that he's working with right at this point in time, I'm sure. Okay, but he's got that all taken care of. Let's talk a little bit about you. Where do you come from?
I'm actually from Bryan. I went to middle school here and high school. My parents still live here in town.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it's so nice to be back. Really, it's amazing. I love coming back home, and apparently you can come back home no matter where you go. So it's great.
I'll tell you what. You have that so many times. The conversation always around here is how do we keep the young people here? How do we keep them here? How do we keep them here? Reality is, a lot of them are going to go. I mean, when they get to be 18, they want to go see what's out there. The neat thing is they can come back, and we love having you come back.
Yeah, there's no place like home.
Yeah, I understand that. My stepdaughter and her husband moved back in this area, and luckily I've got a couple of grandsons here in town that I get to play with.
Congratulations.
Which is good stuff. Yeah, which is always fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, it is fun. So what brought you back to the area then?
Well, ever since I graduated from my fellowship in Indianapolis, I've always wanted to come back. I'm very, family oriented and like home focused. But ultimately, really, I had been looking for an opportunity to come back and serve the community, and it popped up at the right time, and so I was able to come back. I'm currently at Community Memorial Hospital in Hicksville, 4 days out of the week, and then 1 week of clinic in Van Wert, Ohio.
Okay, and then with all this free time that you have, you're already working basically 2 jobs. Okay, you also donate your time to the Compassion Clinic then at times too.
Yes, I will be. I met Mike Kelly at the clinic. And he talked to me about possibly taking some time out and going on Tuesdays to volunteer and take care of some patients. And I was thrilled to. I mean, it's an important part of community service, and especially in medicine, it's important.
What do you do? What is your specialty?
So my specialty is podiatry and foot and ankle surgery.
Okay.
Basically any and everything below the knee.
Okay.
I train. Well, I'm a Buckeye. I went to the Ohio State University.
Oh, okay. So all right. So you're officially a Buckeye. You're
officially a Buckeye. Yes, a real Buckeye, a homegrown real Buckeye. I went to Kent State Podiatric School of Medicine, and then after that, I did 3 years of residency in Youngstown, Ohio, and then I was really blessed. I got into a 1-year fellowship in Indianapolis, Indiana, with the American Health Network. So that really springs you forward, and that fellowship really allowed me to focus on any and everything below the knee. And there's such great physicians there, and they train whoever comes through so well. I'm really blessed. So
give me a little more information. You've piqued my interest now. Who are these people? I've never heard of that group before.
Oh, okay. So the American Health Network is actually it's been now bought out by Optum.
Okay.
It's a healthcare network. It's a larger one, but they're primarily located out of Indianapolis, Indiana, but they're located in Carmel, Lafayette, Kokomo, surrounding areas of Indy. I think my mentors, I guess I can call them that now, since
Sure.
even though we're colleagues, but I'll always refer to them as Dr. J. Michael Miller and Dr. Doug Blackledge and Dr. Brian Elliott. I mean, these are the folks that really, you get one fellow a year, and they really take you under their wings, and they really, they really train you. So I'm very blessed.
Yeah. Are there organizations like that everywhere then? Is that how it works?
We are very fortunate. The American College of Foot and Ankle Surgeons is, through the rigorous process of fellowship, there are a lot more foot and ankle surgery fellowship programs now open. There are at least 10 now in the nation that are surgical foot and ankle fellowships for podiatrists. When I was a fellow, there were like 10 in the nation at that time that were primarily foot and ankle, recon, surgery, trauma based. There's significantly more now, around 26 or so. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So
what got you into this thing? I mean, how do you all of a sudden, a heart surgeon, right, Mike? I mean, the superstars are like the heart guys, and all those kind of things. How do you decide that foot and ankle, anything below the knee, becomes your specialty at that point?
The biomechanics of the foot and ankle are amazing. It's such a complex. These are such complex joints.
Sure.
I was looking when I graduated after being a black guy. When I graduated, I took a year to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up. So I was with mom and dad, and my dad was like, why don't you look into podiatry? And Dr. Finnerty was working at the group at that time, so I shadowed him, and I loved it. I mean, there's so much need for foot and ankle surgeries or diabetic foot care or patients who have ulcers. I mean, this is a real issue with diabetes, especially, avoiding amputations, or if you have to, then we do limb salvage, and how to optimize patients' quality of life, make sure that they stay out of the hospital, make sure we keep an eye on them, things that they may or may not be able to do for themselves. We as specialists can take care of those patients. So it was sort of a profound, life-changing experience. And what better way is there to serve your community in medicine than through this field? Yeah. So I mean, I love it. This is my dream job. This is my dream career. This is my hobby too, really. So
your dream career and your hobby.
Yeah, I love this. This is great. You get to take care of people.
Yes.
You get to serve your community. You really get to practice medicine, and you can change things for patients and also for yourself. So this it has everything that I've ever wanted. Yeah. So
that's amazing. And Mike, how did you find Neethi then?
I stumbled across her.
I saw him in his red beret.
Yeah.
I think Prince did a song about that one time.
Really?
I think it's I think that's it. Yeah.
Well, my wife needed some podiatry services, and we were referred to Dr. Schroa. By the way, this is the second Dr. Schroa in the area.
Okay.
It's very confusing. There's another Dr. Schroa, which is actually her father, who's a pediatric, and also does the sleep studies here in Bryan.
Okay.
So it's Dr. Schroa Jr., but that doesn't work. Dr. Schroet. I'm not sure how we should do.
How do you deal with that?
Dr. Schroa the second.
And Schroa, Dr. N. Schroa. That's how the practice is doing it now. So.
But we went down to meet her, and first of all, I know nothing about her specialty. She has a bunch of things after her name.
Yeah.
Besides the pediatric thing, or podiatry thing. Sorry, just moved it to your father already. There's a whole bunch of other initials. Maybe she'll explain those later. But my wife needed help, and we went there. And it was immediately, she's just fun.
Yes.
Okay. And I have a ball with her. She's fun to go visit, even as the nice thing, I'm not her patient.
Yeah.
So I'm not really having to pay real attention to what she's going to do to me. So that was the good news.
That is a game changer.
It was. My wife, on the other hand, was the one that was going to have major surgery, which has gone remarkably well. I think everyone understands foot surgery is extremely complicated. And my wife's surgery was very complicated. It was 4 hours of surgery.
Yeah.
And her recovery has just been outstanding. So I've met her every week now for about 8 weeks or 9 weeks, something like that.
We've become besties.
Yeah.
And well, first of all, I have a ball with her because she wears pointed-toed shoes. And all of us grew up knowing that you're not supposed to wear pointed-toed shoes. It's not good for your feet.
Yeah.
And she does. So she had a lot of explaining to do. She could be a podiatry and a surgeon and wear pointed-toed shoes.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, she wears combat boots when she does surgery, I understand. So it's okay then. But just in the midst of talking with her, I asked her, would you consider working for the free clinic? And she just immediately said yes. And for most of our doctors, that's always a sacrifice. Okay, they've got a 9 or 10 hour day in.
Yes.
Then they're going to come and volunteer 2 hours here. For her, she lives in Fort Wayne,
Yeah.
so she's going to drive from Hicksville to Bryan, and then from Bryan back to Fort Wayne afterwards. So the cost for her to come is exceedingly high to be willing to come in. So the fact that she's willing to do that was a remarkable thing.
Yeah, it really is.
But I'm happy to, Mike. I mean, if we don't take care of the people in our community, where's the community going to go? And Bryan is my hometown, so I'm happy to do that.
But
I don't even think about those things.
Be recognized as a sacrifice, and I'm overly appreciative of it.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm excited by it.
I am too. I am so excited. I can't wait to start and can't wait to see people.
When you start, what kind of patients are you expecting to see?
Well, pretty much. So obviously, diabetes is a huge epidemic in the country. So patients who are diabetic, who are not
lots of those at the free clinic.
Yeah. For patients who need diabetic foot exams, diabetic nail debridement, which is actually a very good way to preemptively avoid ulcerations. Those, and I'm thinking that's going to be a major portion of our population. Okay. Anybody who has superficial ulcers related to diabetes that can be managed as outpatient, like in the free clinic. But if they need to, they may have to go to the hospital and be admitted for any further, like IV antibiotics or anything like that. Your typical problems like plantar fasciitis or tendonitis.
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah,
it's painful, but explain what it is.
So basically,
I've been there, done that, and I know it's painful.
Yeah, so it's basically inflammation at the bottom of the heel. There's this band or tendon or ligament called the plantar fascia band, and where it attaches, it tends to get very inflamed occasionally. Now, this actually, contrary to popular belief, the correlation for this is not. It can be your foot type. If you have a high arch foot type or a flat foot type, you can get it. This is not necessarily related to obesity either, even though there is there's some correlation, but it's not a cause. If you're obese, you get pain in your foot, it's because you're obese. It's really my patients who are runners and active patients get it too.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
I'm not the obese one. She's being very polite.
No.
You run too much. Hey,
I run too much.
You're always around.
Yeah.
So essentially, we try to reduce the inflammation to actually get rid of the problem. And there are multiple different treatments for it, along with stretching exercises and icing your foot. But those have to be done religiously.
Yeah.
So we help kind of educate the patient about these problems to get them to be on the better course, and of course steroid injections if the patient is able to tolerate steroids.
Yeah. See how easy my job is when Mike comes in. He just takes care of everything.
I know. You just ask the questions.
I just sit back and go, man, this is the easiest hour I ever get to spend.
Well, honestly, when I recruited her, I don't know what a podiatrist does.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to a couple and for plantar fasciitis, and they taped my foot up and said, be a little more careful, that kind of thing. But like the diabetes thing, I really didn't put one and one together.
Yeah.
Because I do know that many diabetics suffer from, and that's one of the first signs that they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
There's an ulcer on their foot.
Yeah.
And they're not even able sometimes to recognize that.
Exactly. With diabetic patients, a lot of them have neuropathy. And, with diabetes, it attacks the largest organ in our body, which is the skin. And what you end up having is loss of sensation at the bottom of your foot. When you have that, you're more prone to skin breaking down. Diabetes lowers our immune response also. So when you have a lowered immune response, you have some blood flow issues, even the small, it's called microvasculature blood flow issues going to our feet. You have reduction of that, then you have skin breakdown. It's the perfect breeding ground for an ulcer. So the idea behind diabetic foot exams is to monitor your protective sensation, which is the fancy way of saying, hey, let's see how significant your numbness, tingling, burning sensation is of your feet. The education of, hey, take a look at the bottom of your feet every day if you can, and if you're not able to, buy a handheld mirror and gently just lift at your knee or bend your knee and just hold your handheld mirror to your foot every day. Don't go barefoot at home, or wear at least flip-flops. Not just socks, but at least like flip-flops or something between a barrier of the carpet and you. I've had patients who the spouses were diabetics and the wives were sewing, and they had I had a patient who had a sewing needle in his foot.
Oh.
He didn't even realize it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So
That's scary.
So you can walk around with a sewing needle in your foot for a month or more before you go to the doctor again. And Neetha says, why is this sewing needle down here?
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? This is fascinating. So
Yeah, that's a word.
So the idea behind this is to actually monitor the patient's decrease of loss of sensation, or to patient education and awareness. The idea is to, I think half the battle is trying to explain to people, this is what we need to do to help take care of you, and this is what I would recommend that you do to help take care of yourself. And monitoring your feet every day, that's probably the best thing. Looking between your toes, or have somebody do that for you. That takes care of half the issue.
I'll be darned. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have to take care of some issue, guys, because we pay bills around here by playing commercials. It's an amazing process. They pay us to do this, which is a good thing. We always like
this.
that.
Wow.
You bet. It's 26 minutes after 10 o'clock. We're in the middle of the medical hour, brought to you by the medical specialty clinics of the Bryan Hospital and community health professionals. And we'll be back with Neetha Saroa, who is the newest member here of our team around our area with the Compassion Care Clinic. And also our co-host today, Mr. Mike Kelly. How's that?
Aww. You're so good at this.
And we're back here in our discussion today, and Dr. Neetha Saroa with us at this point in time, along with Dr. Mike Kelly. How's that? We call it both doctors.
Well, I have
come in today.
I have an
doctor,
MD
right?
behind my name.
Yeah, see?
No, people don't recognize that.
Yeah.
I have a Master of Divinity. But
See,
it's an MD.
There you go. So you qualify.
Well, 35 years or 36 years in ministry, I probably do qualify. I've sat by a lot of bedsides and with a lot of patients.
Yeah. Oh, and probably still do.
Yeah, I'm a good diagnostician.
Yeah, you are. You handed me Mike, when you came in, a neat little brochure for the Compassion Medical Clinic here in Bryan. And I think for most people, they understand that it is here. I don't think most people understand that there's a huge number of people in this town that honestly could take advantage of it.
I think that's one of the big things that people, it's not for the person on welfare because they have Medicaid. This is for the person who has no insurance, they're not working or whatever, and they have no insurance, or they have these jobs that are part-time jobs. They don't provide any insurance for them. Mm-hmm. It's also for the person who has insurance but has these monster deductibles.
Sure.
Which
is everybody.
Which is everybody more. $6,000 deductibles. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
So for those kind of people, if you have a $2,500 deductible or above, you qualify. So if you got $2,500 or $3,500 or $6,000 deductible, if your income qualifies you qualify to come to the free clinic. And the income guidelines are pretty generous. If you're a family of 4, you can make about $1,200 a week and qualify.
Sure.
And we don't look at your assets; we only look at your income.
Okay.
So if your family has an income of less than $1,200 a week, you actually qualify if there's 4 of you in a home. So,
and that's $60,000 a year, basically. I mean, at one time we thought $60,000 was a lot of money.
You could live on that.
Yeah, you could. Not anymore. Yeah.
No, and I'm trying to, but it ain't working.
Yeah.
So there is and we're open every Thursday night for the general physicians. For our specialists, like Dr. Schroa, we're open on the first Tuesday. Dr. Pat Mossberg is there as our chiropractor. Dr. Melissa Williams is there as a dermatologist. And now Dr. Schroa will be there as our podiatrist. And that's all available the first Tuesday of the month. So people just need to call us and make an appointment. For those who are interested, our appointment number is 419, obviously, 551-7169, 551-7169. And they can call and make an appointment. Generally, we can get you at the next opportunity.
Yeah.
Especially for Dr. Schroa, because at this point, we're just building a patient base for her.
Yeah.
So if you've got, that the pain in your foot, or in your shins too, right?
Yes.
Anything below the knee.
Any and everything
I have to
below
figure out how
the
the
knee.
shin splint thing works, but
I've been accused of being a pain in the foot before.
well, I think it was higher than that. But as I recall, that's what I said. But
I think so. Yeah.
But I've been known to be that same thing. So yeah.
Yeah. I
So
understand.
any of these specialists that we can help with, and we're going to continue to try to add as the medical center and hospital are doing.
Sure.
Medicine goes now from the GP, and they refer to specialists. We're trying to mimic that same thing in a free clinic environment, where we're trying to add specialists so that we can meet the needs of our patients without having to refer them on.
Sure.
So we work hard. And of course, we work very closely with Parkview, and we work very closely with Community Hospital.
Yeah.
Without them, we'd be dead.
That's the one thing that has really been unique. Because when you and I were younger, Mike, these would be opposing teams.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to work together. But now all of a sudden you have all these medical opportunities, and they all see the benefit in being a team nowadays rather than being opponents, which is really neat.
I agree with that. Collaboration is the key.
Yeah.
The health of the community is important. So the more we can collaborate, the better our community will be, the better all of us will be.
And I think there's great leadership in the hospital and Parkview. Because they really do want to make it work. I spent 30 minutes on the phone with somebody from Parkview just a couple of days ago, and we're trying to find ways to make this even better, to make our collaboration even better than it is now. Mm-hmm. We're not a big clinic, so we don't apply or qualify for grants, because most grants you have to have a much larger dollar budget than we have. I mean,
sure.
The one benefit of having a small budget is that we're very efficient. The opposite of that problem is you can't apply for grants because we have a small budget.
Okay,
so
sure.
We're totally supported by the community.
Yeah.
Every dollar, we have a $50,000 budget. Every dollar comes in from the community. We don't receive United Way help because we've been funded adequately. That we didn't think we needed to take that money in from United Way, and we've been part of them in the past, but we were able to surrender that so that money went to other agencies. So we live on people sending money, and much of that is $25 and $50 donations. But you know what? God has worked it out.
Yeah.
I mean, we have $50,000 a year. Seems like a lot of money. You have to get $1,000 a weekend, but it comes in, and there are some big checks, but mostly it comes in from companies giving a $500 gift, or a family that decides it has Christmas and decides rather than spending, like my family, who needs what? I mean, everybody's
Sure.
got what they need.
Sure.
So why not take that money and donate it to someone? And we've had a number of families do that for us. Things like that. So the clinic survives on donations and volunteers.
Yeah.
We have a paid staff person, and Diane Olam is our director, and she's outstanding.
Yes, she is.
She's got such a heart for this ministry, and it is about Jesus Christ. We never make bones about that. We're going to share the love of Christ with our patients. We'll pray with them if they allow us to. We're not going to push anything, but it's for the cause of Christ we started it. And then we manage it, and God has been good to cover us.
Yeah, it's amazing how this has been so successful, and there's no other explanation, I would think. For
We're in our 11th year, which is just amazing to me.
Yeah,
and I'll need to come back another day because the shelter's in its 25th year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year.
Yeah, you do have to come back and talk about that,
Yeah.
because that has become. Did you think 25 years ago that you would maybe have this problem solved by now?
No.
Okay.
Never even thought that'd be an issue. But, I'm not a person that thinks down the line like that. So
Okay.
the fact that we're here 25 years was kind of a shock to me.
Sure.
And, well, I stumbled across the 10-year anniversary of the clinic. I literally wasn't looking for it. I just happened to stumble across it and go, wow, this is our 10th year. So, yeah, it's been a real adventure.
Yeah.
Can I ask Dr. Shore another question?
Yes, please do. Please do.
You have all these initials, FAC something.
Yeah.
What is all that?
So
And what makes that special?
Well, DPM is Doctor of Podiatric Medicine. So after my last name, and there's DPM. And then when you get board certification, you become a fellow of the American College of Foot and Ankle Surgeons.
All right.
So
FAC, FAS?
yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right. So you're a fellow.
Yeah, when you get board certified. Otherwise, you're an associate.
All right. So you're
Which would
board
be-
certified. What difference does that make to me?
Well, in the podiatry community, we are moving towards board certification status as basically a measurement of the patient's, the physician's acumen. So it is a very good idea to go to a board certified physician, or at least in podiatry. That means that you have had enough surgical volume to submit to the board to be able to be analyzed and assessed, obviously following HIPAA protocol, and to sit down for 2 written tests and pass those. So the idea is it's a judgment of your acumen and I don't want to say intelligence, but
Yeah, I'll take
basically,
that.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
a judgment
people
of
who-
your qualification.
Yeah, people who know what they're doing look at you and say, yes, you've got the technique, then that you can do the surgeries, you do them well, and you have the intelligence and the training and the background to make them such a thing that it makes you safer to go to.
Well, that's a tricky territory because even for podiatrists that are board eligible, they most likely have all of that. They have an excellent skill set, have years of practice. There is nothing that can replace experience.
That's true.
With that being said, I mean, for somebody who's board eligible who has not taken that exam yet doesn't necessarily mean
Okay.
that they're not.
You also mentioned volume, so that maybe your patients they don't have enough volume.
No,
to
that's not
qualify.
it either.
No?
It's a podiatrist's choice. Even the board eligible people who haven't taken the test to be certified, they may be
All of
actually
that,
have
but just
all
haven't
of that.
gone
Just
through
haven't,
it.
yeah, just have not taken the test.
Okay.
They may not see it as something. It's a personal choice
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So
I don't have a doctorate in ministry,
Yeah.
and I started one, And I realized that the congregation I work with, having a doctorate would actually probably be detrimental to me.
Oh.
So I didn't follow through with it. I began it, but I didn't follow through because I realized that when I'm working with people who are less privileged, that makes me a little more aloof, and that makes it much harder for me to minister to them.
Sure.
So I chose not to get it.
Okay.
You know, could I have gotten it? I think so.
Yeah.
I think I could have passed the test, but I didn't. I didn't go further with it because it wasn't. It would have. I thought it would have been detrimental to me.
Okay.
So.
So now I'm taking the doctor off your name. I called you a doctor a
Yeah,
little while ago.
I know. You
but
can have it
I'm gonna
back.
revoke that now.
Yeah,
Just-
you
we
can have
only
it back.
Only have one doctor in the house.
Yeah.
We
Well, I have
actually
two, actually.
because sitting behind Neethi is her fiance, Mike. And so it makes it really easy. I got a mic and a mic, okay, and that makes it real simple for a guy like me. Have you ever met a guy who only has one living brain cell, Neethi? Have you ever met that, Dr. Schroa?
No.
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 Well, here I am.
Be
I'm sitting right here with you. There's one. He's a really tough little bird. Okay?
No.
And he's been
It's an
hanging
amoeba.
on. Yeah, it is. I went to Ohio University in the 70s. You went to
okay,
Ohio
okay.
State, okay?
Yeah.
And but I went
The
a little far-
Ohio State.
The Ohio State. I'm sorry. We called you guys. We always used to call you the guys up north. You know, you were up north from us. How's that?
Oh, you have a really good school.
It is. It's a very good school, and there's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. So, but I still do only have one living brain cell. So, if you want to, if there's ever a time when anybody, with Promedica or whatever wants to study this,
Let them know you're the one.
I'm the one, and for just a meager fee, okay, my time is available. How's that?
Yeah, well, yeah, the $7 an hour you get paid here is, that's fair.
It. Exactly. Something like that. How's that? We need to step away for news and a couple commercials. When we come back, I really want to get into some of the conversation that we were having when we first started, because I found it intriguing that an Achilles tendon replacement versus a hip replacement, okay, is easier.
That was
is
off the
tougher
air,
to come
though.
back to, and we're going to deal with that here, along with a couple other things. We have the newest member to our doctoral staff around here in Bryan, and her name is Dr. Neethi Schroa, and we're very happy to have her with us here on the Medical Hour today. We'll be back right after the news from ONN and a couple of things to pay our bills, and we'll wrap up our Medical Hour here today on a Wednesday. And we're back here to wrap up our medical hour here today, all brought to you by the medical specialty clinics of the Bryan Hospital and community health professionals. And Mike Kelly, our guest, along with the newest member of the Compassion Care Clinic, Dr. Neethi Saroa. And Doc, while you're here, I think the thing that we need to talk about before we get into the other topic that I want to talk a little bit about, because I found that really fascinating. But people that are listening to us right now who do qualify to go to the clinic, the types of services, the types of things, again, if they missed the first part of our program, that you're going to offer on Thursday nights there at the clinic.
So basically treatment of foot and ankle tendinitis, diabetic foot exams and diabetic foot care, treatment of non-complicated or least complicated diabetic ulcers. If it's severely infected, may need to go to the hospital. Plantar fasciitis, ankle sprains.
There's crazy people that walk past the window all the time. When you're in the radio business, you've seen the old programs where they set things on fire and do all kinds of weird things on that glass. That happens back there. Don't touch the glass. Okay. I'm sorry. No, didn't mean to, but Courtney walked by and made a face at me. Is what happened.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ingrown toenail procedure removals.
Okay.
So minor foot procedures of that nature, skin biopsies for anything that's needed, treatment of plantar warts, basically warts on the feet, things of that nature.
So this would be a really good starting place if somebody was having some foot problems, didn't have really a lot of money in the bank and were curious. Because obviously if you diagnose something a little more severe, then there are other steps that you'll recommend for them to do, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you can potentially take care of them as well as that progresses out.
Yes, if we're able to, if I'm able to, I definitely will.
Yeah.
So
okay, it's just another great service to have at the clinic, Mike. It just keeps growing and growing, doesn't it? Huh?
It does. One of the exciting things about what Dr. Schroe is doing is she carries a Dremel with her.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Melissa Williams is our dermatologist.
Okay.
And she comes with this can of nitrogen that she sprays on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so every time I see her, I run in the other direction because she's also my doctor, and she sprays me a lot. So I try to stay away from her. Well, Dr. Schroe comes in with this Dremel. It's about the size of my forearm. And it's like, I don't even know how she can lift this thing. It's huge. And she uses it for trimming down big toenails and stuff like that. I'm not sure what all she does, but it's a scary piece of equipment. I have a Dremel at home. It's half that size.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's medical grade heavy duty Dremel that we use.
And you have to have an assistant to hold it up for you. It probably weighs 30 pounds.
No, I can fit it in my coat pocket.
Yeah.
So it'll be okay. Don't get scared, people. It's actually very useful.
It's
and it's not sharp.
No, it's not.
There you go.
It's very nice.
All painless, I'm sure. Painless.
It is painless.
What she does is painless for that.
Yeah, there you go.
With that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get into modern medicine nowadays, because we were chatting and I really found this interesting because Mike, you've been around both a hip replacement and an Achilles tendon replacement.
Yeah.
And your comment was, man, I'll tell you, that Achilles was much, much worse than that hip replacement, okay? And I found that to be remarkable because I know a number of folks. You made mention of the number. I hit 64 the other day, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm to that point where those parts are starting to wear out a little bit, and I have a lot of friends who have done knee replacements, hip replacements, this and that and the other. Doc, it's getting to be just kind of commonplace nowadays. And you told him that you would have had him up and walking a little earlier than what he was walking too, because and I noticed that seems to be part of medicine now. If somebody has major heart surgery, they're up walking the same day. Okay, you would have had Mike over here running that marathon in just a matter of days.
And I'm really glad I didn't have her as my doctor.
No. It depends on the pathology and what happens. So typically for my patients that have Achilles tendon tears or need repairs, by week 3/week 4, we put them in a fracture boot,
Okay.
and they're putting around 25 to 50% weight on that foot.
Wow.
So if it's safe for them to drive, they can drive, but we're definitely getting them up and about and moving. It helps reduce some of the swelling, and any time that you can stay active as much as possible, it's just good for overall well-being.
Yeah.
Staying non-weight bearing for example, Achilles tendon repair with a tendon transfer from another tendon is within the standard of care. I think it just depends on the patient. And
Some of us are just slower than others.
well, I mean, everybody has a different healing potential.
Sure.
Different comorbidities or
Yeah.
different medical issues that go along with the healing potential of each patient. But for certain surgeries, as soon as I see that patient, we're well on our way and it's safe for the patient to weight bear, or start walking and start, kind of getting out there, and try to do that.
Yeah.
So that's,
Well, so I guess we're just calling you a slacker right now.
Yeah.
No, it's
should have been moving a little quicker, and that's okay though. We still love you, and that's not a problem. That's not a problem whatsoever. All right, if I brought a heart doctor in right now and I asked them how I could get their patients to be able to avoid having to go see them, they would tell me different things. Change my diet, get a little more exercise, do this, do that, do whatever. What does a podiatrist tell a potential client to do so that they don't have to come visit you?
Well, with my patients, as soon as their issue is resolved, and even while they're still, for example, plantar fasciitis, I tell my patients, hey, listen, if you have been, doing a 3-mile walk every day or every other day, still try to do at least 1.5 miles or a mile every day or every other day. Like cut it by half, but really do still try to stay as active as possible. The idea is we treat you for your pain, but it depends on the pathology. As much as you can stay active and on your feet, definitely try doing that. Wearing good shoes, preventively. Once the plantar fasciitis is, for example, this is just an example, we treat it and, patient is doing well. I tell my patients, hey, okay, so from now on, we're going to get certain shoes for your foot type. Podiatrists love New Balance shoes, but I think it's in general.
Yeah.
I subscribe to New Balance shoes as well, or Asics. Particularly if a patient has a wider forefoot at the toes, so different shoe size recommendations. Most of us wear, 9 out of 10 patients actually wear, or most of us, 9 out of 10 of us, wear a shoe size that's half a size smaller.
Really?
So it's an interesting thing.
Just in the New Balance, or you just...
No, just in general.
In
general, we wear, like, 9 out of 10 people will wear a shoe size that's half a size smaller.
Really?
So, yeah.
How do you know that? I mean, I've worn a 10.5 all my life.
This is the APMA data, or our professional organization.
So how does a
puts
patient
out.
know that they got the wrong size?
Well, when the important thing is having the patient weight bear, which means I have patients that when they have questions like this, I have them stand and I examine if their toes, big toe or second toe, sometimes the second toe is longer than the big toe, but if they're pressing up against the edge of the shoe and if it's pretty snug. And the way I do that is I have them weight bear and I press down on where their toes would be at the edges of the toes.
Yeah.
If it seems a little snug, I'll tell them, hey, listen, half a size shoe larger is probably a good idea. These are the recommendations. This is what you should get. Inserts, it's my personal experience. Patients, it just depends on the patient, how well they do with inserts.
Yeah.
Some patients do really well, other patients don't. So we also try inserts, but I always tell patients, this may not necessarily work for you, but we can give this a try.
Well, half the time it doesn't work because you don't take them out of the one pair of shoes.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
no,
I had inserts and they were in this pair of shoes, so the idea of taking them out every morning, putting it in the other pair was just
it's tedious. You have to take it out from one pair, put it in the other, and then inserts are every shoe pair may be different. For example, my sneakers are different than my heels, so I can't wear my same inserts for my shoes that I do for my heels. But I definitely like Power Step inserts. Those are wonderful.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten away from the old shoe stores where somebody would fit you for a pair of
like
I
used to
nowadays.
do.
Yeah. Nowadays, you order them off online most of the time. They come in, you put them on, you say, okay, this works pretty well or it doesn't work pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those situations where I think you used to get better service and have somebody who sold shoes for a living. Al Bundy did it for a long time on Married with Children, right? Okay.
I did it as a kid growing up. I worked in a shoe store. And,
I remember you
learn
telling
to
me
press
that.
down and find out where those
and your
those
mom and
toes
your
are.
grandmother used to do that for you all the time too. They always were good at that. I don't know.
My mom would take the hammer and
exactly. But you don't have that anymore. So I'm sure there are a number of folks who are just not wearing the proper kind of shoes.
Which also affects your instep, right?
It does, because what happens is that then you have your toes that are pushing up against the shoe, and then you're basically, your toes are on top of the bones that are called metatarsals, and so then that affects the bottom of the foot, the musculature, the way it affects the biomechanics of how we walk. So you definitely want to have at least one or two comfortable pair of shoes. So
and I think the pointy toes that she's wearing right now would look very good on you, Mike.
I was going to say that. I said no.
I do. I think.
I like those shoes.
I think we both need a pair of pointy shoes. Just exactly
I have some
like
boots
that
are pointed toed.
There you go. I think that's where we're heading. Hey, you know what? We've gone through almost an hour, and it has been wonderful to have you here today, Dr. Schroa. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For being in here.
Appreciate it.
Mike, again, you'll start next week or next month?
Next month, I think.
The very first Thursday night of the month.
No,
Tuesday.
First Tuesday.
I'm sorry.
Specialists are on Tuesdays.
Okay, so the first Tuesday night of the month for the specialist. Okay, so if you would like to set up an appointment now, now's the time to do it.
That would be great.
And the telephone number again, Mike?
Is 419-551-7169.
And the other specialists we have to come in on Tuesday nights at the Compassion Care Clinic
are Dr. Pat Mossberg, who does chiropractic, and Dr. Melissa Williams, who does dermatology, which is the care for your skin.
There you go. And the clinic is open then on Thursday nights
for normal general practice stuff.
Practice at the clinic. Right. And those hours then are what time?
It's always 6 to 8 o'clock.
Okay. And I'm sure there are times when somebody's there till 8:30 or 8:45.
Yeah, we try not to.
Yeah, but if somebody's in need, I know the kind of folks that come in and work with people.
The doctors and the staff are all willing to stay.
Yeah.
As an administrator, my job is to try to get everybody home at a promised time.
Yeah.
So we really work at trying to get them out the door. Sometimes we have to intervene with a patient and say, you can't bring up 75 things to this doctor tonight.
Yeah.
We have to limit it to your top 3. Pick your top 3.
Let's hit the 3 here this week and hit another 3
Well,
next
some of them
week.
haven't seen a doctor in years, and they've got all these things they want to deal with.
Oh, sure. Well, and that's part of the reason that this clinic is so needed. Because
they couldn't go before, wouldn't go before. They didn't want to run up a bill.
Yeah.
And everything is free. I mean, even our lab testing is free. Our like for Dr. Schroa, if she has a biopsy, that's for free. Mm-hmm. If I saw her or Dr. Williams and they did a biopsy of me, it would cost $2,000.
Sure.
When I'm all finished, and we do it for free. Also, the prescriptions. Whenever our doctors write prescriptions, we fill them for free.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's an amazing place, and that's why we always love being able to catch up with you guys on a regular basis.
I appreciate you letting us come.
It's so needed for our area, and Doc, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us here.
Thanks for coming in and putting up with the craziness that I
no,
put
it's
great. On a
No,
regular time.
Great.
And if you do have any colleagues that would like to examine a person with one living brain cell, okay.
Thank you for your time.
I'll give you a card. How's that sound? Huh? That'll wrap it up for us today. An hour in the books on the Medical Clinic Show today. We do it every week at Wednesday. It's all brought to you by the Medical Specialty Clinics of the Bryan Hospital and the Community Health Professionals. And we'll be back again next Wednesday from 10 o'clock until 11. Now back into Classic Hits on the Q, just you and me until 1.